Morning. Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, what's the latest from your flash briefing? In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. The chairman of the House Oversight Committee is asking the White House to turn over visitor logs for President Biden's home in Wilmington, Delaware. Republican James Comer of Kentucky sent a letter to the administration requesting the records. But as NPR's Tamara Keith reports, the White House says it doesn't have visitor logs for Biden's private residence.
The request for visitor logs comes after the revelation over the weekend that President Biden's lawyers have found 5 more pages of classified material. Comer wants records of who has come and gone from the House since Biden took office. But White House spokesman Ian Sams tells NPR such visitor logs don't exist. He said that, like every president in decades of modern history, Biden's personal residence is personal. Former President Trump never released visitor logs for his private club and home in Florida. He also never allowed the release of White House visitor logs when he was in office, a norm Biden restored. Tamara Keith, NPR News.
Recovery efforts continue in Georgia and Alabama following tornadoes that killed at least 9 people. Pat Duggins of Alabama Public Radio reports today's holiday honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. will take on a special meeting in the hard-hit city of Selma.
Public service projects in honor of Dr. King were scheduled in Selma before last Thursday's tornado. This work will take place as the Red Cross and local relief groups hand out food, water, and clothing to Selma residents recovering from the storm. The city along the Alabama River is linked to Dr. King's fight for civil rights. Voting rights marchers were beaten and tear gassed on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in 1965.
Unity.
Downtown Selma was severely damaged by the tornado before the violent weather moved on to Georgia. There were injuries, but all of Alabama's storm deaths were in neighboring Autauga County. For NPR News, I'm Pat Duggins in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
The European Parliament is beginning the process of removing immunity from 2 of its members accused of taking cash from Qatar in exchange for political influence. Terry Schultz has more from Brussels.
EU lawmakers are expected to strip parliamentary immunity from a Belgian and an Italian member to allow a Brussels federal prosecutor's corruption probe to move ahead. European Parliament President Roberta Metsola says there will be no sweeping illegalities under the rug.
There will be no impunity. None. Those responsible will find this parliament on the side of the law.
Metsola has announced a package of reforms, but critics say they're not stringent enough. One of her deputies, Greek Vice President Eva Kaili, and Kaili's partner, a parliamentary advisor, are among 4 people jailed since early December, with 1.5 million euros in suspected payments discovered so far. For NPR News, I'm Terry Schultz in Brussels.
Yeah, let's get rid of crookedness over here, too.
You're listening to NPR News in Washington.
Oh, wait, the whole government? Oh, well, we can't.
Another round of severe storms is expected to hit parts of California today. Atmospheric rivers have slammed the state with heavy rainfall, snow, and massive flooding since the end of last month. The National Weather Service says California will get a break from the severe weather later this week. Officials say the storms are blamed for at least 19 deaths. Beginning this week, U.S. military veterans can access free emergency mental health assistance at any medical facility in the country. NPR's Quill Lawrence reports the change is meant to reduce combat veteran suicides.
About 17 veterans per day die by suicide, a rate significantly higher than civilians. Emergency mental health care at VA facilities has been free for years and open even to vets who are not enrolled in VA. This new policy means veterans can also go to a non-VA facility and have all costs of acute mental health care waived or reimbursed by the VA. That includes inpatient or residential care for up to 30 days and outpatient care for up to 90 days. Veterans with anything other than a dishonorable discharge are eligible. Anyone thinking about suicide can reach the new 3-digit hotline by calling 988. Veterans can press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Line. Quill Lawrence, NPR News.
Stocks traded mixed across Asia today. Markets in China and Hong Kong posted gains, while shares were lower in Japan. Wall Street is closed today in honor of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Stocks resume trading tomorrow. This is NPR News in Washington.
Support for this NPR podcast and the following message come from the UPS Store. This upcoming holiday, the UPS Store is open and here to help. The one stop right around the corner. Everything you need so you can be unstoppable store. The UPS store. Individual store hours may vary by store location.
In NASA news, during an event hosted by NASA Administrator Bill Nelson and Deputy Administrator Pam Melroy at the agency's headquarters in Washington Friday, representatives from the United States and Japan gathered to sign an agreement that builds on a long history of collaboration in space exploration between the two nations.
Invest in weapon stocks, so
2 astronauts on the International Space Station will conduct a spacewalk Friday, January 20th, to install hardware for future power system
more investing
upgrades.
for you. Building guns, so
NASA has selected Sean Quinn as manager of the Exploration Ground Systems program based at the agency's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, effective Sunday, January 15th.
Use one or the other. The manufacturing or the stock.
Media are invited to a news conference with NASA Administrator Bill Nelson and other agency leadership at 10 a.m. EST on Wednesday, January 18th at NASA headquarters in Washington. NASA has selected Banner Quality Management Incorporated of Friendswood, Texas, to provide safety and mission assurance, engineering, and technical services to the agency in various locations across the country. In weather. In Seattle, it's 44 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can look for showers, with a high of 49 degrees and a low of 44 degrees. From NASA. During an event hosted by NASA Administrator Bill Nelson and Deputy Administrator Pam Melroy at the agency's headquarters in Washington Friday, representatives from the United States and Japan gathered to sign an agreement that builds on a long history of collaboration in space exploration between the two nations. 2 astronauts on the International Space Station will conduct a spacewalk Friday, January 20th, to install hardware for future power system upgrades. NASA has selected Sean Quinn as manager of the Exploration Ground Systems program based at the agency's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, effective Sunday, January 15th.
It's not a spacewalk. They're not doing it for recreational purposes.
Media are invited to a news conference with NASA Administrator Bill Nelson and other agency leadership at 10 a.m. EST on Wednesday, January 18th at NASA headquarters in Washington.
All right, Amazon. Off.
NASA has selected Banner Quality.
Off. Amazon, tell us a joke.
What do you call the annual ball for ghosts? A paraformal activity.
Oh, paraformal activity. Oh, okay. Ghosted us today. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Peace.